Kevin Garnett, the great Kevin Garnett, fantastic players, one of the best. Some might, well, I don't know if anybody's going to put him ahead of Tim Duncan, but certainly one of the best and one of the best handful of power forwards ever to play the game. And he has a new book coming out, and he did an interview with the New York Times to, obviously promote his book and get out there. And he says something in that interview that I just can't stomach. I'm sorry. I like the big ticket. I know he's smart. He's called him a basketball savant and all that. But I can't stomach it. And we're going to get into it. But first, here's what he said from Rob G.
Yeah, in the interview, the question he was asked was, what's your take on the current state of the NBA game? Here's what he said. It's a long answer. The game is at another level. I know you said that you made the team with Vancouver, but I want you to get on the court, sprint corner to corner, stop on a dime, and shoot a three. I want you to do 10 of those.
He's talking to the writer.
To the writer.
Joking about having played.
Then I want you to focus on how tired you are, because these players do that for 48 minutes. Here's where Chris is getting upset. I don't think guys from 20 years ago could play in this game. 20 years ago, guys used their hands to control players. Now, you can't use your hands. That makes defense damn near impossible. Can you imagine not hand-checking Michael Jordan? Nah. The fact that you can't touch players gives the offensive players so much flexibility. Defensive players have to take angles away and stuff like that. But if you have any creativity and ambition, you can be a great offensive player in this league.
All right. So you want me to hit this first, Rob?
Yeah, no, you go ahead. I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I think this happens often where you talk about, the yesteryear and this year, and the present. And I've heard this used before. Oh, Babe Ruth couldn't play today. He was a fat, pudgy guy. Do you know what I mean? Like he couldn't play today. But you can't really do that, I think, because that's what guys looked like back then, Chris. They were all on the same thing. If Babe was playing today, he would be under different regimen. He'd be eating different food. Do you know what I mean? So,
right.
And the same thing, the players he's talking about that wouldn't be 20 years ago couldn't play. No, they would. Michael Jordan didn't shoot a lot of threes. Chris, if he was playing now, he would shoot more threes. Don't you believe that?
No question.
No, I mean, so I don't buy into that. You would adapt to what the style of play is now, just like in the 90s or whatever with the Bad Boys Pistons. Everybody had two or three blokes, Chris, who would be able to battle you in Oakley and the Davis brothers in Indiana. You know what I mean? Like you built your teams to fit the style of play and what other people had.
Anthony Mason,
yes.
Charles Oakley, Xavier McDaniel.
You
Rick
know what I'm talking
Mahorn.
about, right?
Well, and
there was a place for them in the league back then.
You made some great points. And this, I'm not going to stay here, but it does need to be said. My philosophy has always been this. The superstars of any era could be stars of any era. Meaning that, look, if you took Bill Russell as he was, 6'9", 6'10", 220, couldn't really shoot, and put him in today's game or 20 years ago, you'd be like, where do we play him? He doesn't really handle it. He doesn't shoot it outside. But if you gave Bill Russell or Bob Cousy all the benefits players have today,
right?
The nutrition, the travel, the better sneakers, charter flights, weight training, year-round play. I don't have to get another job in the off season. All of that, better, more sophisticated coaching and things.
And video and all that. No doubt.
Then they would be great in any era. Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, John Havlicek, Larry Bird.
They were wearing Chris Converse with no support.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine playing inside. Heck, remember when Jordan went to the Garden? I think it was going to be his last trip there with the Bulls, I think. But I'm not remember exactly what the occasion was. But he played, Rob, in the Air Jordan 1s.
Mm-hmm.
You sent me them the other day, the Air Jordan 1s.
Right.
And his feet were torn up after that.
Right, playing in those.
Yeah. And he was like, I don't know how in the world I played in these. But you did. I think of the sneakers I played in high school. And I'm like, man, these things, you
The
used
sneakers
to
we
wear
used to wear as
out.
kids.
Right.
I remember.
You used to put holes in the bottom of your shoes.
Yes.
Now you can't wear these things out.
You can't wear them out, Chris. You could wear them all the time, and you wouldn't
Yep.
wear out a pair of sneakers.
Yep. So that's, I think your point is fair. And then people want to bring up, well, yeah, Jordan couldn't shoot the three. Totally correct, Rob. He would adjust to shooting far more three-pointers. There's no doubt about it.
And here's the point. Let me just make this quick one. When Michael came into the league, Chris, he was a dunker. When they started taking that away, what did he become? A jump
Best
shooter.
mid-range shooter in the history of the game, arguably.
He didn't do that. I'll give you another one. Patrick Ewing played with his back to the basket, averaged 13 points in college. He became a prolific shooter for a big man, maybe the best.
Yep, absolutely.
So don't tell me you couldn't adjust.
But I won't even stay there with it. But let's just say the players as they were in the 90s and early 2000s versus today's players. Now, KG is talking about how fast they play. Another guy that's going to join us, regularly, Kerry Kittles, who we've had on the show, played with the Nets, went to 2 finals with Jason Kidd. He's talked to me, too, about, man, the game is so much faster now. But here's the thing, Rob. One, they don't play as many minutes. You know this, Rob? There is one guy in the league, one, averaging 37 minutes or more per night. And that's James Harden at 38. Wow. One, Rob, when we covered the league, it was commonplace for the best players to play 38, 39, 40. Iverson averaged 40 minutes so many seasons, it's ridiculous.
40
and Jordan
out of
was up
48.
there too.
Yep.
Yeah, so number one, okay, if you want to say the pace is so fast, they would have had trouble playing because that's what KG was talking about. Run, and then shoot a three. Well, they're not playing as many minutes. So instead of playing 38, 39 in 1997, maybe you play 34 today like Steph Curry. And you could do it. So there's that. All right. Then I want to put it, I will give the players today this. They are obviously more athletic than ever. They shoot the three better than ever. And they handle the ball better than ever. Now, some of that, they let them carry a little bit, but they handle the ball better than ever. But outside of that, I don't think they're as fundamentally sound. Now, you might not need it as much today, but post-entry passes, post-moves, post-defense, they're not that sound in that stuff. 5-man basketball is really drive and kick, high pick and roll, which leads to a drive and kick. You don't have to even know how to play 5-man basketball, but I tell you what, run one of these, high pick and roll teams up against somebody that plays 5-man basketball and see what happens. How you think the San Antonio Spurs beat the Miami Heat, who had more talent? They played 5-man basketball. What made the Golden State Warriors so great and unique even before KD got there? They played 5-man basketball.
How about the Pistons?
They weren't just high pick and roll, drive and kick. Huh?
Pistons 2004.
Right.
That was a team.
Yes.
That was a team.
Played as a team. And so there's that. But I'd like to turn it around, Rob, on KG. Okay, I get it. A KG probably saying, I couldn't shoot the three like that. But KG is better than Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo is like a little lesser version of KG. And guess what? He's an all-star in this league.
Yep.
He don't shoot the three. So KG would have been fine with what he does. But would these players have been able to play like this with hand checking, Rob?
No. Chris, that is the biggest thing. Defensively, you can't do anything. Chris, I can't touch you. It's a foul. I can't.
Absolutely.
I can't slow you down. You remember it used to be the hand in the back, and then you had to use the bent elbow. I couldn't, use my hand. I could only control you with my bent arm. I saw the whole evolution of that when I was covering the league. It makes a huge difference.
Totally. And then once I beat you to the hoop, right? Then when I get into the paint, I might get hammered. I got to worry about getting, an elbow upside my head. With these players, they have to adjust to that. Rob, you know it. The league, what do they talk about? Spread the floor. 5-man out, 4 out, 5 out around the 3-point line. Why? So the paint's open for a drive. Well, would these guys be able to drive with 6 players in the paint?
Right.
Because that's what it was. Go look at Michael Jordan's films. When he went to the hoop, it's 3 of his guys and 4 of the other team's guys in the lane. And you just had to know how to finish. You had to know how to shoot over, under, around guys.
You saw that in the whole Last Dance documentary. I think people got to see what Michael had to go through and the hard fouls, Chris, and all the other stuff that was a part of the game.
Yep. So I'm not gonna argue over, is this better now? Was it better back then? But I'm just saying either era you will have adjustments. So just like KG talked about, our players, would they be able to adjust? Mainly it's all about the 3-point line. Would they be able to adjust to that? Well, would these players be able to adjust to the more physical game that they played in the 90s and in the early 2000s? So it goes both ways. So KG said it like the dudes just weren't as good back then, which I don't believe to be the case.
No, I don't. It just was a different game, and you played, you adapted, and you would do that now if you were playing now.
Yep. All right, good topic, 877-99 on Fox. I'm sure a lot of people want to weigh in on this, Rob. 877-996-6369. Is KG bugging? Is he dead wrong when he says the guys from 20 years ago couldn't play in today's game? And what do you think about what Rob and I said?
Let's kick it off with Bruce in South Carolina. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Bruce?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How are you?
So I got to say, I'm doing well, but I disagree with KG completely. Like you guys said, it would be a concept of just adjusting. I mean, it isn't like the players of yesteryear are just so completely washed up. I mean, you go in the 2000s, you had Kobe. He played with Paul Pierce. You had Ray Allen who could go from the sideline.
Right.
And I mean, also, not to discredit him, but I can't stand James Harden's style of play to some degree, and I don't feel as if he would be able to compete in an older time of like 2090s, whenever. It's fine. It's just his Euro steps, his double dribbling, I just don't care for it.
I hear you, but that's the way people play now.
I think Harden would be great again in any era. But I agree with you generally that to say. I mean, Rob, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, even Joe Dumars was a sniper from 3.
Yes,
and not known as that. But if they shot more, I mean, come on. Ray Allen's one of the greatest shooters ever. They just didn't shoot it nearly as much. Even the best shooters didn't shoot it.
It just wasn't the option, Chris, unless they needed it a lot of times. You know what I mean? Or if it was wide open, but it wasn't like on the menu.
And if you could shoot it without worrying about missing. Because nowadays, I've had players tell me, man, back then, if you missed 2 in a row, you either were coming out of the game or your teammates and coach are saying, yo, get the ball inside.
Exactly.
Throw it inside or move in, shoot a mid-range shot. So now they just shoot it without any worries and cares.
Just like in baseball where they just swing for the fences, right? Before, if you struck out 100 and something times, Chris, you were going back to the minor leagues.
Yep.
That's what happened.
Good point.
So guys didn't do that. They weren't trying to hit 40 home runs. Robert in South Florida, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Thanks for taking my call. I agree with both of you guys, and I could go on and on about players like Big Smooth and DC and all the rest of them from the 90s and 80s. However, let's be mindful that they moved the three-point line closer to the basket to promote more three-point shooting.
No doubt.
Back in the days, those guys weren't shooting so close.
No, they moved it closer in like 96, 97, somewhere around there, 94, 95. There was a year or two where it was closer, but then they moved it back out. So now it's the longest distance now.
Okay.
They moved it back out. Yeah.
All right, Robert, thank you down in South Florida. Appreciate it. Mark in Sacramento, California.
What's going on, gentlemen? Yeah, there you go.
What's up,
it feels
Mark?
normal now. Feels normal
That's
now.
right. What's up, buddy?
Hey, real quick. You guys are absolutely right. And KG, I don't know if he's just want a hot take to go,
to sell
nowadays
his book?
it's hot take.
To sell a book? To get us to talk about it and let you know we got a book coming
but
out.
Here, you guys know I talk about it. You start talking about errors and things, you have to kind of look at the rules changes. And like I always say, when you can't touch them, that changed everything, and you allow them to get to the basket. The further you go back in the NBA, the harder it was to get to the basket. And these kids today, they sure couldn't win in the lane in the 80s. If some of these kids tried to go in the lane in the 80s, you'd still be looking for them. That's how the game was. It was played different.
It was
just played so different.
Easy to get to the rim nowadays. And then when you get there, there's one guy there waiting for you. Whereas back in the day, it was 6, 5, 6, 7. So, yeah, it's that's a great point. And again, I get where KG's coming from. I mean, Rob, Charles Oakley couldn't shoot the 3, didn't even think about shooting the 3.
No.
KG even, I get that. But you got to look at it on the reverse side, too, with these guys being able to handle the toughness of back
Even
then.
when Charles was shooting the 2s, Chris, I could just remember the crowd at the Garden. No. And then he would make it. They'd be like, yeah. You remember they would?
He actually became a decent little elbow,
Oh, yeah.
He
could make that shot from the elbow. But you remember when he hit first, it was like, don't shoot. No, don't do it. It used to be crazy. Man, I'm telling you, he was one of my favorite people covering because that guy worked so hard, Oak. Man. Oak was my guy when I covered the NBA.
Everybody loved Oak. All right, we got Antonio Daniels. We'll get into this with him.
Wait a minute. Did you see this tweet by Rob G? Wait a minute. Chris. Did you see this?
Get Rob G on the mic. He
Rob
probably
G,
ripped us.
What'd he
say?
Ripped us.
Today's player. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
What?
Rob
G,
read say it with your chest, Rob G.
That's why I texted it to you guys, so you will both see it.
All right, well, go ahead. Tell us.
This was a fire tweet at the producer RG. It says, KG said players from 20 years ago couldn't play in today's NBA, so Chris and Rob counter by bringing up guys from 30 and 40 years ago instead.
And then he has
an old woman that says, get off my lawn, spraying the water hose.
Old woman with the water hose.
I see that.
Hey, you kids, get off my lawn.
I mean, to your point, Rob G, what would these dudes do with Shaq?
Not a damn thing.
Okay.
I mean, seriously. And Shaq was of the mentality, like Joel Embiid, and he's great, and he's playing great. But Shaq was of the mentality, I'm going to put 40 on you here and there. Embiid ain't really got that mentality. He shoots a lot of jumpers. He faces up all the time. He could be beasting dudes in the post even more than he is right now. And Shaq would do that. David Robinson. What would they do with David Robinson today?